I'm standing outside Our Lady of Vilnius Roman Catholic Church in New York City. The church was built a century ago by the families of immigrant Lithuanian longshoremen. The church was closed in 2007 by the Archdiocese of New York. It was sold 6 years later to a developer for $13 million. That developer then flipped it to another developer for $18 million, and now the plan is to tear the church down and replace it with an 18-story luxury apartment house. But the parishioners of the church have never forgotten it. They still come some Sundays and pray on the steps outside. And today they've come to mark the 8th anniversary of its closing.
I think the decision to close the church was in advance of this current boom, but there was a boom. I don't think that they would have tried to close this church if real estate values hadn't appreciated to the extent that they had. This church was like an anchor for the working class. It's a shame that no one in this gentrified world has been able to see the value of this enough to preserve it.
I'm standing here in the nave of Our Lady of Peace Roman Catholic Church in New York City. It's one of dozens of churches that are slated to close this year under a big consolidation plan. The parishioners of Our Lady of Peace don't understand it, however. They say their church is in good shape physically and fiscally. But they wonder if it isn't explained by the booming value of Manhattan real estate.
Well, there's no question that this is a very, very hot real estate market in Manhattan. Properties are going for unprecedented prices. This property, even with the landmark designation, would probably sell pretty quickly.
It is a mystery to me as to why the Archdiocese of New York would want to close Our Lady of Peace Church. This is a financially healthy church. We are running in the black. This church was recently renovated. It was a very extensive renovation, going into several hundreds of thousands of dollars.
My family, through 4 generations, including my grandchildren who were baptized here, have had a connection to this church.
My grandparents on my mother's side, Santina and Louis Guatelli, were married here. My mother and father, Jean and Thomas Dooner, were married here in 1957. My husband and I were married here in 1985. That's 3 generations married here.
We will really stand up against deconsecrating this church and having it closed. And that is something we've already decided to go ahead with.
This is the kind of church that should not be closed. This is the kind of church that should be celebrated.